I don't agree with resist. I agree with discuss.
And what makes a lawyer want to get into the restaurant business?
I lost the bet. It's always right to do what's right, whatever that is. And you got the bonus of getting to say hi to Daryl.
Hey, there he is. There you
on?
We're on. It's working.
Telling you on my phone.
I'm on Daryl Strawberry's phone.
I love it, dude. It's the best. I love the entrepreneurship. What's up, Daryl?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I love it. I'm glad we made it work. That's entrepreneur hustle right there.
Yeah, we had to do it on my Instagram on my phone, so it worked. So
apparently, it didn't work very well on mine.
That's okay. We made it. We're here. We got it.
You got it.
And you got the bonus of getting to say hi to Daryl.
What? I love it, dude. I love it. Thank you for letting us use your phone for the next little bit.
Yeah. It's all right. I'm here at Nelson Home, so we just.
And by the way, Daryl is a big fan of the Hunt and Fish Club. I just thought I'd throw that in.
Everybody is, right? I love it.
There you go. Oh, everybody.
Hey, it's the best restaurant in New York, Hunt and Fish. I don't know where people are missing out at. That's where they need to go and eat, man. It's great food. Well, you meet the greatest people, there, like Nelson and A-Town and all the people that work there. And, they've been like family to me for years. So I'm just not saying it because of their restaurant. This is family. I'm here at home with Nelson.
For everybody watching, guys, this is Nelson Braff. He's a legendary entrepreneur. He started the Hunt and Fish Club, legendary New York steakhouse, an institution. And Nelson, man, thank you for taking some time to chat with us today.
It was very stressful to get to this point.
Right.
I was trying.
I'm glad we made it happen. We sent out like 10 invitations, but we're here. Daryl's phone, I love it. For people who are kind of just getting into your world, one of the things I love is like you added the word club at the end, right? Hunt and Fish Club. Tell us about the history of the restaurant quick and like why you put club in there too and what that means to you.
So the history of the club is, well, in short, and I say the club, the restaurant, post 9/11, much of Wall Street moved into Midtown Manhattan. Wall Street itself had some places that were sort of go-to hangout type places for industry people and everybody else, but largely industry people. We decided that Midtown needed a place like that. There were places the industry went to, but no sort of go-to industry type places. So we decided to create one. Obviously, it's for everybody, but its initial focus was media and finance, hedge funds, private equity, that kind of stuff. We put the word club in the name, not so much that it was a private club, which is what people thought we meant, but more that it was a clubhouse feel, that if you go there, you will find somebody you know, whether or not you go in alone or with you. If you just go to hang out, you will know people either eating or at the bar or whatever else. So it was more not meant to be private club, more clubhouse.
Right.
That was the intent.
I love it. And you created that family vibe. And I mean, it just,
totally.
Even how we started this with Daryl giving you his phone.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that happens. Daryl is somewhat more technically advanced than I am. I'm embarrassed to admit, but it's true. And so he figured it out.
It's awesome, man. We're here. Listen, there's a lot of people watching. They're up-and-coming entrepreneurs. A lot of them even want to start restaurant businesses. What kind of advice, feedback, suggestions would you have for them?
Have a lot of money in reserve.
Okay.
Start with that. By way of a background, I'm a lawyer who went into finance. I don't have a hospitality background at all. I kind of grew into it later in life. And the advice would be, number one is it's treat it as hospitality more than business. A big part of this is you have to create an environment where people are happy to be there. There's a million choices of restaurants. If you like, I can count heads and multiply by our average check average, figure out how much I'm going to do in revenues for the night and what the profitability would be. That's absolutely not, when I'm there, that's not what I look at. It's are people smiling? Do they look like they're struggling to get their waiter's attention? Stuff like that. It's more like I feel like every night we're throwing a party, and yes, we charge our guests to come to the party, but I want them to have a good time. Like they're choosing to spend their free time and their entertainment dollars on us. Having really good food should be a given. It's not a bonus. Like if you don't have good food, people aren't going to show up. But that's just the beginning of the project. It's way more about the overall customer experience. I've often compared it to a Broadway show, and given that we're sort of near the theater district, it's quite apropos. everyone has a job to do to create an experience from the time the guest walks in, they go to the hostess, the hostess takes their coat, they get seated. It's all part of the deal. If it was only about food, it could be a takeout restaurant. Takeout restaurants could have really good food. It's about putting on a complete show from the time they step in till the time they step out. So the short answer is the focus has to be on the hospitality component even before you get to the business component. If you do a good enough job at the hospitality, the business sort of takes care of itself.
And what makes a lawyer want to get into the restaurant business?
I lost the bet.
Okay.
It happened kind of accidentally. I used to go out at night with my partner. We used to hang around with a bunch of old athletes, ball players and stuff like that. And we were in nightclubs every night, all night. And I kind of once said, if I'm going to do this every night, we have to own it. Like, I just can't. It's just too tiring. So we started out in the nightclub business, and then I said, this is no place for a middle-aged Jewish guy to end up going to nightclubs every night. That just doesn't work. So we opened up restaurants, and it's gone from there. We had an Italian restaurant, a barbecue restaurant, and what started this, other than, like I said earlier, about creating a place in Midtown, the feel was, if the Rat Pack were alive today, what would the place they ate in look like? And we spoke to some of Frank Sinatra's old friends who we were friendly with and said, if they were around, I didn't want like the 1967 Brown Derby, but we put in some of the design elements for them, and we wanted a sort of a cooler vibe. And what triggered that feel, my partner and I were in a steakhouse maybe 5 years ago, and it was in the summer, and I think it was Gallagher's, if I'm not mistaken, and there was somebody there in an Izod shirt, jeans, and sandals. And I'm like, when did that become okay in a New York City steakhouse? Like, when did we get that casual? So we don't have a dress code, but we're pretty upscale. We want people, if they walk in looking like that, of course we'll seat them and serve them and everything else. But I want them to think, maybe next time I'm here, I should step it up a little bit. And we wanted to bring a little bit of that old world feel back, if that sort of makes sense, in a very contemporary look and vibe. I don't mean to make it sound like it's stuffy. It's anything but.
Right.
But I want to bring a little bit more of the traditions back to life. And I think we nailed it, frankly.
Love it. Now, I heard you loved reading the bio of one of my personal heroes and mentors. He's up on my wall. Where is he? Right there. Mr. Howard Schultz from Starbucks.
Impressive guy. Grew up in my old neighborhood.
What have you learned from him and applied to your business?
The stand-up comic in me would say that you could charge $7 for a cup of coffee with no refills. I'd get away with it somehow. No, it's the creativity, the perseverance, the customer service. There's a lot. It's an impressive guy, impressive accomplishments.
Now, you have a special knife collection for people who come in. Tell us about the knives collection.
Yeah, so we have a knife display. It's steak knives with engraved with the names of people. There are our investors, people who come in and frequent the restaurant and are very regular clients, and celebrities who frequent the restaurant. So when they sit down, like Daryl wants to talk to you about his knives.
Did he give you knives? You got your own knife?
I have my own knife. It's beautiful.
Love it.
And when I go there to eat and have dinner, I eat with my knife.
Nice.
Right.
Now, it's very rare you go to a restaurant that takes care of you like that. That's what's so good about Hunting Fish. And, you know, they have a lot of people, a lot of famous people, a lot of investors, a lot of great people that come into the restaurants and just be a part of it. Because they're good people, they're family to us.
He loves it. He loves you.
It's mutual. It's actually where I'm talking to you from my house. Daryl, my kids refer to him lovingly as Uncle D. He's nice. From the day they were born, he was Uncle D. So yeah, when they order, the guest gets presented with their own knife on a silver plate with a napkin, and they eat with their own knife. Afterwards, it gets hand washed and put back into the display. It's kind of a cool thing. It makes VIPs feel like VIPs, and it makes for a pretty cool conversation when other guests just walk by and start looking at the names. You know, some of them are who's that, and others, occasionally knives get stolen if the celebrity is famous enough. We've had to replace a couple along the way. So
Got it. Well, I'm glad Daryl got his own, because otherwise this would have been a pretty awkward conversation.
It would have been awful. If he didn't have it before, he certainly would have had it by tomorrow.
Right?
I'm waiting to do an Evan Carmichael night.
Right. We got to make that happen. We got to make that happen. All right.
It's not unusual for people to come over to me and say, what do I have to do to earn a knife? And
Okay.
my standard answer is, if you need to ask me, it means you haven't earned it, so you just have to try harder.
Right.
Whatever that
Keep on.
means. Keep on trying.
You're spending more time being upfront. Like, you're here on this channel, on CB, you've been doing other interviews and getting media out there. Like, what's the incentive or the motivation, the drive now to try to get out there more and share some entrepreneurial knowledge?
I went into this business later in life. I'm not young anymore. And the selfish part of it is, frankly, it markets the restaurant. The other part of it is, like, everyone in the restaurant who works is younger than I, and they're almost more like my kids than my employees. For example, when one of our staff was getting engaged to another of our staff, I helped them go out and find the diamond to do that, like you do for your kids, right? And it's the same thing about passing on information. Like, at this stage, my life is what it is, and it's not going to change, and I have a lot of fun with this, but financially it's sort of ultimately not changing. Sharing experiences and information is, I kind of enjoy that a lot. I had kids later in life, and I someday want some old guy to hang out and kind of try to put them in the right direction. So hopefully it's me if I'm not anywhere else. But regardless, I kind of believe in God and karma. So you do what's right, you talk to people, you try to be helpful, and hopefully someday they'll watch over my kids. That's all. I
love your message. I'm looking forward to you getting your own YouTube account or posting more on Instagram to share the message.
First, I have to learn how to use a phone.
If you learn how to use a phone, Instagram and YouTube is almost as easy.
So I hear. And by the way, if you don't follow Daryl, you should. He is spending his life now, my wife helped set it up, speaking to schools, and he doesn't charge, about opioid addiction. He goes around from school to school talking to kids about the dangers of opioid addiction. During the day, he speaks to them at the school. At night, the parents show up and he talks to them. Somewhat different messaging. And he's a spectacular human being. And if you don't track him or follow him, you should. What he's doing at this part of his life, you would be beyond impressed. If you ask him, he'll say, God didn't make him a baseball player for baseball. God made him a baseball player so that people would listen to him for this message. Without that fame of his prior career, he wouldn't be able to get the message out. And whatever I'm doing, and I'm hopefully, doing something okay, what he's doing is just beyond spectacular. And I just wanted to throw that out there.
If opioid is Daryl's lasting legacy and message, what's yours going to be?
It's always right to do what's right. Whatever that is. Just because people don't think like you or agree with you doesn't make them the enemy. That's all. We're living in a very challenging environment. My restaurant has been portrayed as one of the issues with that. I won't go further, but we're very front and center in that. I'm old enough to remember we had a funeral yesterday of a man who not everybody agreed with, but everybody respected. It's okay to have people not agree with you. It doesn't mean they're evil. And it doesn't mean that they're not to be respected. And respectful dialogue is something that seems to have gotten lost. And I wish I had the ability to bring that back. I'm old enough to remember when it existed. That's also part of my messaging when I go around and I talk to kids in schools and stuff like that. Being ill-intentioned makes you bad. Disagreeing with me doesn't make you bad. It just makes you wrong. It doesn't make you bad.
Be the change.
Everyone has to be the change for there to be change. I don't agree with resist. I agree with discuss. Resist doesn't do anything. Discuss can make a difference.
And how many discussions happen at your place every night?
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot. And I've often, people on the right and people on the left tell me my rear end must hurt from sitting on the fence all the time.
Okay.
And I'm not Switzerland because, the old line, what did Michael Jordan say? Republicans buy sneakers too, something like that. I'm sort of a centrist, and I kind of agree with things on both sides of the debate. But what I think doesn't really matter. It's more about the openness and going up and divisiveness going away. I see a generation of people that are going in a wrong direction. You know, Daryl's thing is about opioid addiction. At least, thank God, so far I've not had that in my immediate universe. I know it's out there. My kids tell me about it, but what I have seen in my immediate universe are people letting political or social disagreements change who and what they are, and that's really unfortunate. My causes are important to me. Everyone's entitled to have their own. What should be universal is the acceptance and the respect, and so that's my messaging.
I love it. I know we're hitting against the clock here. For people who want to learn more about you, the restaurant, what's next, where do you want them to go?
Send me an email at nelson@hfcnyc.com. Go to our website, call us up. I'm around. I go in all the time. I love conversations. It's okay to agree with me. It's okay to not agree with me. As long as you come and have a drink with me, we're cool.
Nelson, thank you for the time. Thank you for co-opting Daryl's phone to make this happen. I really appreciate it.
And now I just have to figure out how to shut this phone off. He stepped out.
I'll end it on this side, but thank you, man. Really appreciate the time.
Thanks, Evan. When you're in New York, come say hi. You might
Looking forward to it.
You never know.
I like it. I'm waiting for it. Let's make that happen.
Absolutely. Thanks, and have a wonderful
Nelson.
holiday season.
You too, man. Cheers.
If you want to see my interview with Tony Robbins, check out the video link right next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
You have to become an owner and not just a consumer. You have to take a percentage of what you earn, as simplistic as it sounds, and automate it so it comes off the top of what you earn.